on how it's made. Fresh cut flowers, combining nature with nurture. Adhesive tape, a sticky business made easy. Tofu, they work hard to make it interesting. And lottery tickets, sometimes a winner and always a gamble. But first, for centuries, some flower bulbs were so sought after, they were quite literally worth their weight in gold. Today the flower business is still big business, except now it's the flower, not the bulb, that makes its owner millions. But getting a fresh flower from the fields to the florist is not an easy business. Roses are a perennial favourite. Florists buy them from commercial greenhouses. Those greenhouses have sophisticated sprinkler systems positioned to irrigate the soil rather than the plants, because watering directly on the rose bushes would grow harmful fungus. The hotter the weather, the more watering, up to 7 times daily for about 5 minutes each time. The greenhouse climate is computer controlled. If it gets too humid, the computer automatically triggers the roof to open, bringing down the temperature. The ideal greenhouse temperature for most flowers is about 23 degrees Celsius during the daytime and 16 degrees at night. With every watering, the rose gets a low-level dose of fertilizer, the botanical equivalent of taking a daily vitamin supplement. It's a mix of nitrogen, phosphate and potassium, the proportions determined by the ongoing soil analysis. If the specialist detects a pest problem, they apply an insecticide treatment to target that particular insect. But first they close the roof so as not to pollute the outside environment. Workers handling the chemicals wear masks and protective clothing. The roses grow through openings of horizontal trellises positioned one above the other. This ensures the stems grow tall and straight. Crooked roses, after all, are worthless. Cutting the roses is tricky and prickly. Workers have to wear thick gloves to protect against the thorns. They cut the stem at a 30 to 45 degree angle, just above the second set of 5 leaves. The cut must be precisely at that spot for a second rose to bloom, about 40 to 55 days later, depending on the season. Growth is slower in the winter because there's less sun. The growth period also varies somewhat according to the variety of rose. The fresh cut roses go into a bucket of lukewarm water with a few drops of bleach to kill off any harmful bacteria. Workers then check each and every rose to make sure the blooms and foliage are free of defects. Then they classify the roses by length. The longer the stem, the more the rose is worth. They make a bundle of each length, then trim the bottom of the stems to equalize the height. They wrap the roses in newsprint so they won't dry out during shipping. The transport trucks are refrigerated in summer and heated in winter to keep the roses at a safe temperature, about 6 degrees Celsius. To make a bouquet of dried roses, they select open blooms, then hang them upside down in a room cooled by fans. They leave lots of space between bouquets, so the air will better circulate. The roses take a week to dry out. There's nothing worse than expensive flowers dying on you, so here's a checklist to keep them fresh. Trim 1 centimetre off the stems to open up the water channels. Fill the vase with lukewarm water, never cold. pour in a bit of bleach to ward off stem-clogging bacteria. Change the water every 3 days. And be sure to keep the flowers away from the heat of a sunny window. Happy arranging. Adhesive tape was invented in 1925 as a painter's masking tape. Eventually that led to transparent tape, designed to seal the cellophane wrap used by the food industry. Then tape was introduced as a household item, and without it, we'd come unstuck. These rolls of plastic film, called polypropylene, are on their way to becoming shipping tape. The rolls go on a machine called the unwinder. Workers then position a strip of adhesive splicing tape along the end of each roll. This will enable them to connect one roll after another, creating an uninterrupted feed to the production line. Once a roll unwinds completely, its end sticks to the splicing tape at the beginning of the next roll. Once that roll's unwound, its end will stick to the beginning of the next, and so on. An automatic tension adjuster ensures that the machine pulls the film evenly to prevent ripping. The unwinder also applies a solvent to the film's surface. This prevents the film from sticking whilst unrolling. To transform this film into tape,